in business, one of the things I always tell people is you have to have a big picture of where you want to be. So like if you want to start a business, let's start at the end of the big picture and then reverse engineer it back of how you're going to start it, right? So I kind of think God is like that, where he has this amazing future for us, right? But we can't see it because we have this wall. There's like this imaginary wall of fear and low self-esteem and, doubt and all the things.
Hello, this is Andrea from OurDayDream, back again with another awesome guest. Her name is Gwendolyn Wilder. She is a business strategist, a published author, and also the founder of Impossible to Possible Women Sisterhood. If you like this podcast, please hit subscribe, because we have a new awesome guest coming up every week, and I don't want you to miss out.
Good morning, beautiful. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I am blessed. I am truly
I love that answer.
I am ready to get to know you and just like learn more about the podcast and all that.
That's so awesome. So I already introduced you, and you are a certified business coach. And so what brought you to coaching? Because I know that with coaching, there's kind of a story that lies behind it. It's like, I've been there before. Hey, let me help you.
Yeah. It's, it's truly, so full disclosure, I'm a Christian, right? I like to just let people know that like right off the bat, because I feel like if we don't know for sure what the foundation is behind the purpose that we feel we're fulfilling in life, like we're not going to achieve like the highest point, right?
Right. I love that.
And so for me, I feel like it's all coming from the Lord, right? Like we all are on this planet to, excuse me, to bring more souls to Christ. And I feel like he gives us each individual gifts and talent, skills, whatever you want to call it, right? But I feel like he gives us all these individual gifts, and that's, at least speaking for self, I feel like that's what kind of brought me into this arena. I've always loved learning and helping people and, watching people to figure out that like light bulb moment of, oh my gosh, okay. And from when I was a kid, like in third grade, people were always telling me like, you have this ability to be able to see things that people can't see, of what the problem is that they're dealing with and how to get past it. And so for the longest time, I thought I was going to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist or something, right? And that's what I went to school for initially. And then I realized like, oh my God, no, that's going to take forever. Like I'm not. But it's somehow God always brings me back, right? No matter where I venture off to, no matter what it is that I'm doing, he always brings me back into that mode of I'm able to help people to identify the root causes of whatever the thing is that they're going through. And I realized, and I just accepted that is, a part of my calling. It's just being able to help people to identify whatever the thing is, if it's in life, if it's in work, if you're just dealing with some type of emotional, distress, because I think when we're in it, we just can't see it because we're too invested, right? And so you need to have somebody on the outside that has the strength that you can borrow from them from time to time to help them to move past it. So I have to say that's it. God is the reason how I got into all of that.
Yeah. And I talk about that so often. It's like we need those people that can pull us out of it, because no matter how spiritually sound you are, you're still going to find yourself in these places where you're focusing too much on the material, physical world, because we live in it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like no matter who we are, no matter how successful you are in your life, whatever that success looks like for you, we're all going to have that struggle. And it's almost like I heard a sermon that my pastor had said once. We was talking about Simon when they were in the boat with the fish, right? And I'm going to mess it up, but when they were in the boat and, Jesus helped Simon Peter to, get the fish into the boat and everything. And he felt like he was unworthy to be in the presence of the Lord and for Jesus to help him and everything. And sometimes I feel like that. And I know that other people feel like that. No matter how successful you are, you got the perfect marriage, or you got the, perfect boyfriend, or the house, the car, whatever that looks like, or a good business. It's like you feel like you're still missing something, like there's a level, right? Like you can't get it. And we're never gonna reach that perfect level. And all that really is the imposter syndrome, really, trying to keep us from that perfect peace that already is inside of us. I think just God wants us to realize it's already there, and he's trying to put us in these situations, or allow sometimes situations to happen to show us, we should be grateful for what we have.
Right.
Live in this peace right now. And like I said, we just can't see it all the time because we're so focused on getting to this next level, or getting this next thing, and not appreciating the things that are around us. And that's why people like you who have this amazing podcast, and bringing other people on to talk about different avenues of how to appreciate different points in your life. I think that's really powerful, and we need to have that for the days.
I thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think back like on the fruit, it's like whenever Adam walked the Garden of Eden before the fruit, he was satisfied. And it was like, as soon as Adam and Eve ate the fruit, it's like, oh man, like I'm naked, you know what I mean? So like I feel like the dissatisfaction really stemmed from that slithery snake.
Yeah, you know what it is too? It's because we always want more. We always want more. And I look at the Adam and Eve story, like, they were happy, like you said, right? Like they were happy and content. And then all of a sudden, like they had the sunglasses removed, like they had fades were taken off. And so now they're like, oh my gosh, there's like all this other stuff. And I want to know how I can do this. And if God is so perfect, like I want to be perfect too. Like, I want to emulate him, which is, yes, we want to be Christ-like, right? But not like, nobody can be God. Like that isn't your role. Like the devil tries to, convince us that's our role, and it's not. So
try take control of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you had told me just a little bit about the obstacles you faced, when you were trying to start your coaching business. And, I don't know, it's like I want you to share your story, but also it was like, I was on my way to like starting a coaching business, and then all of a sudden I was in a relationship with the love of my life, and it just really went bad. And then we broke up, and then it was like, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't even look at it for a while, because it kind of like takes you. It's like, who am I to try to help somebody else whenever I'm a disaster? And so I think it's so
absolutely. And
I think it's powerful, your story.
I feel like that every day. And I think that's like people, for whatever reason, they think like once you become a coach, right? Like people think, okay, that's it. You've reached the epitome of everything is wonderful. Everything is perfect. You don't make any mistakes because you're teaching us, right? Like not how to make mistakes. Wrong. That isn't the fact that I am making mistakes, and I'm learning how to move past those mistakes, and then how to apply the lessons I learned from those mistakes in my life. That's what makes us good coaches. Right. I think that's what, just harnessing again, that skill set. But yes, I totally understand how you have to deal with trauma or things that are disappointing in your life when you're starting. So I'm not sure how much you shared about me, but a little background story. I was working a 9-to-5 job, just like, a lot of your listeners are probably doing. And I was working in the military. I was working for the U.S. Air Force. And I loved the job that I was doing. And my son's birthday was coming up. So picture this, I'm working my 9-to-5. I'm supporting myself, my boyfriend that I had at the time, who I've been with for like, almost 10 years. And my son's birthday was coming up, and I couldn't afford it. I was like, so what do you want to do for your birthday? And he was like, I want to go to Disney World. And I was like, I can't afford that. Like, how am I going to, make this happen? And so I decided to get the second job, right? And so I got the second job and, made the money, took them on this fantabulous trip and everything. But it was so hard because my paycheck was supporting me, my son, my boyfriend, and I had a dog at the time, a miniature schnauzer. And it was really, really hard. And I was just like, I don't know how I'm doing it. It's just the struggle of doing the things you need to do for your 9 to 5, trying to start a business in, in the first place.
I feel that.
And I mean, the business became like really uber successful. I ended up getting like a $5 million contract and things were like great. And I was able to, retire early from my job, my 9 to 5. But what a lot of people didn't realize was that even though I was dealing with the normal struggle of living paycheck to paycheck, right, which is crazy that we normalize living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. But on top of that, I was also dealing with domestic violence that I was experiencing from my, living boyfriend that I had at the time. And then I also had experienced a sexual assault as well while I was building my business. Wow. And working my 9 to 5 job. And I was too ashamed to tell anybody about it. I was too embarrassed and, all of the things, right? Because come on, I went from barely making it to having this successful business where I'm, managing 180 something people. And my life was falling apart. Literally my life was falling apart. My business was like ridiculously successful, but my life was falling apart. And I didn't know what else to do. And so I went to the Lord, right? Because my relationship with him was not then where it is now, because God never leaves us, right? It's us that leaves him, right? Like we get off the path, right? And we go do whatever the thing we're going to do. So what worked really well for me, and I think this is what helps me to be a good certified business strategist for people, is helping them to understand that it's okay, right? Like it is so okay for you to not be okay. Right. And you can still, chase after the dream. You can still achieve your dream, but until you realize that you're not okay and it's okay to say you're not okay, that's how everything comes together. And so I realized, everything started to fall apart because I wasn't able to balance my peace and my purpose. And so I went to the Lord and was like, God, if you could just help me to please get up out of this situation that I was in, because, I was experiencing all of the forms of abuse you could think of, financial, physical, sexual, the whole everything, right? And it all culminated until this one day when my ex literally just decided he was going to choke me to death in our kitchen. And I just prayed because I felt like I was dying. I felt like I was, just getting ready to pass out. And I just prayed of God, if he could help me to get out of this situation, I would leave and I would never come back. And just by the grace of God is what I call it. He just let me go. And there was no reason for him to do that because he was bigger, stronger, all the things. And I did, I left and I never looked back. But I decided to take time away from work so I could focus on my healing, my recovery, put my son through, counseling, and focus on just becoming healthy, right? Yeah. And that was probably one of the best things I could have ever done, because if I never would have taken that time to step away, it never would have led me to the point of writing my first book, which was, It's Okay to Tell My Story, Surviving Common Law Domestic Violence, which is all about understanding what is domestic violence, right? Because there's a big misconception that it only happens to people in a certain economic status or people that live in certain communities or something like this. Yeah. And so I wanted people to know that, yeah, you could be successful in your business and still experience domestic violence. You could be a man that experiences domestic violence. It's not just women. You could be an elderly person that experiences it. Children experience abuse as a result of domestic violence. So I wanted to write that book, but it's not how it came about. It literally was something that I just journaled about to just get myself out there for healing, right? Not to share it with anyone. But, I felt like God wanted me to put it out there to the world. And once I did that, that's when my life changed. Literally, I went from just telling people my story like I'm doing with you. And then the next thing I knew, people were like, oh my God, this is like an amazing story. Like, how did you do this? And how did you start your business? And how did you continue to, build your business, dealing with the, assault and dealing with the abuse? And so from there, it was, okay, I'm telling people this story to now I'm empowering people, because I want people to know that no matter what it is, if you had your spouse died, your parent died, like we just went through the pandemic, my brother passed away, and, different friends passed away as well. But you will overcome, because I feel like if we are here, we have a purpose. And so we have to figure out what that purpose is. And I feel like that's a part of my calling, is to say, okay, I overcame all of this stuff. I didn't think I was going to, but I did, because God said I have a purpose. So he's allowing me to have the skill of, the coaching that I use, or my skill of painting that I use as a hobby. And, and I end up talking to people about the Lord when I'm painting, so he's allowing me to use these different gifts and skills to help people to understand that they have a purpose as well, and to use that purpose not for themselves, but for other people, to help other people. And by default, by you doing that, you are going to improve your life as well. It's going to give you more joy. It's going to give you more peace, and you're going to feel more grateful for the things that are around you. And yeah, it's just amazing.
I can testify that as well. Like, I was constantly dealing with trauma since the age of 3 years old. And so it was just for like 34 years. And a man had prayed over me, and it's like ever since then, like I learned like that wasn't who that I was. Like all this trauma that I went through, like that's not me. Like I'm not that person. But what that is it's a blessing, no matter how hard, and and I'm still trying to deal with certain traumas in it. No matter how hard it was, like I can use that now, and I can help other people, and I can dry tears, you know what I mean? And I can, give people strength to make it through moments where it's like they don't even want to be in their bodies anymore. And it's like, but that's not who you are.
And that's the whole point, right? Like you having the strength to tell your story, right? And then being able to share that with someone else, or give them that bit of confidence. It could be like the smallest little bit of confidence, just saying something simple. Like, for instance, I remember my ex used to literally tell me I wasn't beautiful, right? Like literally those words.
I can feel that.
And so I turned that around, right? First, telling myself that I am beautiful, right? Well, I took it an extra step. I was like, I know I'm sexy, right?
I love that.
Just taking an extra step.
Right.
But I literally tell all of my my female clients, you are beautiful. Or I will say to them, hello, beautiful, how are you doing today? And you will see the faces light up, right? Because you don't know, like you could be the only person in that day to give them that confidence, that gives them that little bit of boost, that makes them say, you know what, I am beautiful. I am smart. I am awesome. I do have a purpose. I am going to be successful, right? So you never know how you can change lives. And I got to see that firsthand because I literally thought, why would anybody want to know about the stuff that I went through? There's people that have gone through things way worse than I've gone through. So why would my little story mean anything to anybody? But when I shared that story, oh my goodness, I had so many people that would come to me and say, you literally changed my life. I left my abusive, spouse, or I decided to believe in myself and my gift that God has put in me. And I started my business, whatever the thing was. And I just thought, wow, what if I never believed what God told me? God was always faithful to me. Always. I was not faithful to myself. I wasn't faithful to him, but he stood by me and never left. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna be right here. I know you're gonna come back. I'm just gonna sit right here. You go over there. And that's what I tell people. Like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to, get on the couch, get your blanket, cry it out for a minute. Just don't stay there.
Right.
Because if we're living, we have a purpose. And so you've got to get back to the basics, right? And just pray and say, Lord, help me to understand what is my purpose that's in alignment with your will. How am I supposed to use these gifts to help other people?
Yeah.
But, yes, I want you to help me too. Like I got, my light bill due, my car note, whatever, right? But how do I make it all happen to where other people are aware of how faithful you are and how much you love us and how you provide for us? And I think that's part of the problem too for us as humans, is that you ever hear people say we got first world problems, right? Because we're living here in the United States and we're so spoiled, right? We can just get everything. Boom, 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 boom. And I kind of feel like that's kind of how we are sometimes as Christians, is like, or people that believe in the Lord. I won't just say Christians, but sometimes we just want things like right now, like, Lord, my light bill is due. I need like somebody to come through money like right now. And it doesn't always happen like that, right? Like that's the part of that faith flex, where we have to, literally stretch out and flex our faith muscles and, really just believe that God is going to provide, not just say it, but like truly believe it. And I feel like believing it is asking him for it, prayed about it, move on, like, okay, what can I do? Because God wants you to do work.
Yeah.
Not just be like, okay, God, bring in the money, bring in the
to work like that.
Yeah. So it's, so putting in the work, I think that's a part of the process. And a lot of people, they just don't want to do it. And so when they pray about it and then the miracle doesn't come, that's how people start to lose faith. Like, so I guess that means I'm not supposed to be a business owner. I guess that means, I'm not supposed to leave this person. I'm supposed to just stay here, and a lot of people, when we talk about abuse, a lot of people don't know that statistically, it takes at least 7 times as a minimum before someone actually has enough strength to stay to stay permanently gone from their abuser, right? So I just want, if nobody gets anything out of, the things that I'm saying with you today, I just hope and pray that they know that it's okay for you to leave, right? God wants you. Whenever you are in a relationship, the one thing I always say to people is, imagine this. Do they treat you how God treats you? If they don't treat you how God treats you, that's not love.
You're loosed from the law. Yeah.
So,
because that's scriptural too, but then you'll have the people in the church, they'll be like, I can't believe that you got a divorce. Like that's against the law, biblically. And I'm like, no, but there's also scripture in there. Here, let me show you, where it says that if you're not treating them as you are the head of Christ, or it's not bona fide. Well, I can't remember the exact words, but you're loosed from that law.
Yeah, I'll give you a story about that too. So I was married for 13 years to my son's father, right? And now he never put a hand on me or anything like that. He was just not a good person. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we've reconciled, we're not together, but I mean, we have a civil relationship for our son, right? We both moved on, got married, all the things. But that was the only reason I stayed in that marriage for as long as I did. I thought I had to stay married. Like once you get married, that's it. Like you can't. And it wasn't until, and one thing I always tell people is, it is great that you go to your pastors, you go to your, deacons and all the people in your church, but you need to read the Bible for yourself and ask the Lord to help you. These are the prayers, right? Ask for wisdom, ask for clarity, ask for discernment, ask for understanding for the words that they get imparted in your heart so you can understand, what you're supposed to do with it. How is it supposed to help you, your family, and your community, right? Not just, yes, you want to be out of that abusive relationship, but so I do believe sometimes people are able to transform, right? I do believe that God will be able to help people if they want to help themselves.
I can testify. I'm just a completely different human being. And I say this probably a lot, but I was an atheist for 17 years. And I'm just I would have never ever have imagined that I would be. I'm just like, the only thing that's the same with me is my skin. You know what I mean? Like my exterior, like everything inside is completely different than
You
what I was.
I absolutely love, I have people say, I don't know, there's thousands of people, right? Like in my Facebook group. And then I specifically talk about the Lord, like just all over the place. And so people are like, well, how do you know that there's, somebody wants to hear this? Because it could be atheist or, Buddhist or whatever. One, I'm not going to be ashamed of the Lord. I'm going to tell you, this is exactly what I do. If you want to be my friend, if you want to be my spouse, if you want to be a customer, I'm talking about the Lord, right?
Right.
So I always tell people, like, even when I do guest speaks, I'm always like, okay, just so you know, I'm a Christian and I do talk about God sometimes throughout, whatever, if I'm blogging or whatever the thing is, because he's not ashamed of us. And so we need to make sure that we're not ashamed of him. And we should be able to joyfully let other people know whether they believe in him or they don't believe in him, about him, because you could be the person to help them to fall in love with him. Right.
Right. Yeah. And it plants the seed, because it was, for me, I had 17 years, because when you don't have faith in anything and you're just walking this planet one step at a time, you're carrying all those offenses. You're carrying all those words that people say on you. You're believing that, like, you're just carrying it all. And so, and it was like constantly banging my head off the wall, because that was inside of me, congesting me. So I couldn't see properly to like maneuver out of bad situations, but it was like it was walking me right into the bad situations. And so it was all that. And then I was brought to like, I couldn't walk anymore. Like, I was trying to leave my youngest son's dad, and he was making it really miserable. And I honestly, still deal with like PTSD from that whole situation, trying to get out of there. And but this man, he's like, I don't know your situation. I don't want to know. He's like, but can I just pray for you? And like in that moment, instantaneously, I understood that God wasn't a Bible or a church, like a mountain.
Yeah, you're the church.
Yeah, a mountain was removed. I felt like I lost like 50 pounds. My tears dried up. And I was like, oh my God, like this is, and ever since then, it's like, I just want more and more and more. So, yeah.
One of the crazy things that has happened to me, and it wasn't until I started telling people about it, because I thought I was the only person feeling like this. But then, and that's another thing too. We gotta speak. We've got to tell our stories, because that's how you help other people to become aware of how amazing Christ is, right? Because the devil has like tons of lies about, well, no, you got to do all these certain things in a certain way. Otherwise, God is not going to love you, or he's not going to let you into heaven, blah, 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 right? But I prayed for peace for so long that when I finally got it, I didn't even know what it was. Like, it was so foreign, right? Because I was like, wait a minute. Okay, there's no drama happening around me.
I can.
And so that is literally where I called it my spiritual peace journey, right? Because that's when I fell in love with God, because I said, okay, listen, me and this marriage thing is obviously I screwed it up. So, I need for you to help me, Lord, to make sure that I'm aware when you send the right person, that I'm aware of who it is, and not to get distracted by like, these other people. Right.
Yeah.
And so I said, in order for me to find out what love really is, I need to first understand, why do you love me the way that you do? And so that's when I started my spiritual peace journey. And I literally every day would be in the Bible and reading the scriptures, applying them to my life, applying them to my business. And before I knew it, it was like 2 hours oh my gosh, I've been reading the Bible for 2 hours. Like that never
Right.
happens, right?
Right.
Like, and you just, like you said, you fall more and more in love and you want more and more and more, right?
Right.
What I also figured out was the more we seek God, the more distractions are going to come, the more the devil is going to be like, oh, hold on a minute. She over here
Yeah.
trying to get some love right now. Like,
Yeah.
no, we
It's
don't
so
want
true.
that. Yeah. And so I just have to constantly remind myself by doing certain things, like making sure, like literally the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning, I'm in the bed, before my feet touch the floor, I'm like, oh my God, I'm alive. Thank you, Lord. I don't know what my purpose is today, but if you could please help me to understand what my purpose is and make sure keep me near you, and just other prayers, right? Before I get out of the bed and before I go to, my closet and pray, before I do my gratitude journal, like all those things is just immediately giving thanks, because I feel like I ask for so much. So,
Yeah.
so I need to just give thanks, right? Because it's just, we get so into, Lord, I need. And, I think it's important I try to sometimes think of it as if God was a physical person right here in front of me, I think it would be awkward if all I ever did would go, I want this. I need this. I think it would be awkward and weird. And so I'm trying to rechange how my relationship looks with him. And so as I'm learning, I'm trying to share that with other people.
Right.
And, it's a little uncomfortable because, it's calling you to really call out yourself, right? Like you're having now to have accountability for yourself. And, we strive so hard to be perfect and to have everything shaped a certain way. And God doesn't want perfect. I think he really, likes us people that are not perfect, that, kind of mix it up a little bit,
Authentic.
Yeah.
I'm like, because of my atheist background, I'm the exact opposite. I struggle more with not trying to do everything on my own. Just being like, I was brought to, like, God's been ripping things down around me lately so that I can transition. Like, he's been telling me to go a certain direction for a long time. And I'm kind of like Jonah, like just like running. So we hit that storm, and I'm third off the boat and the fish is eating me. And so that's where I was a couple weeks ago, which was a complete blessing because it broke so many strongholds off of me. It's insane. But I was having a nervous breakdown and I was actually at work, and I was so mad, and I was mad about everything that was happening, but I was also mad. Like, I'm really, because people were like asking me what was wrong, and I was talking to them, and I'm like, what really makes me mad is that I'm mad at God right now, and I'm really mad about that.
I promise you, I know. I said this to people all the time, right? For some reason, people think that we can't be mad at God. He is our Father. Okay. Let me break this down for people that don't know this, right? So this is how I see it. God is our Father. Like, imagine your father on earth, right? Like your dad, that's God. And then I look at Jesus like my big brother, right? And then I look at the Holy Spirit like my best friend. So whenever Jesus, so Jesus isn't here, my best friend is always here, like, girl, you should not be doing this. Not the way that you need to be going right now. Like, you need to have that one person. The Holy Spirit is that person. And Jesus is like, now, this is the road that you're supposed to be taking. Now, this is what you need to do. A, B, C, D, E. And then God always has that forgiveness, no matter how bad we mess up. But whenever something doesn't happen, don't we get mad at our parents sometimes? Of course you're going to get mad at God. But the key behind that is, why am I getting mad at God? Like, so I have to process it and say, okay, let me just break this down. So the reason that I'm mad at him is because I don't understand his plan. I am not supposed to understand it. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to move through whatever the thing is, right? So I didn't get married. I got married, got a divorce. I didn't have a child, or had a child and my child, passed away. So whatever the things were, right? Like this is what it is. And there's things that happen to us or happen to people around us. And that's another way the devil works too. If for whatever reason he can't get to you, he's going to go to the people around you, right?
Yeah.
So this is why, because I felt for the longest time like a huge failure, because you know how the Bible say, train your child in the way that they should go, right? And I felt like I didn't do that, because I wasn't as strong in my faith then, being a young mother in my 20s like I am now, at 50.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, that's it. I done missed it, because the Bible said train them up as the child and the way that they should go. But then when I was praying about it, I realized, you know what though? I am still able to do this. I am still able to now at 50 show my son, who's 24, how amazing God is and how he can show up to help you to understand what love is, what care is about, and what confidence is about, what peace, and all these different things, right? But I thought it was too late. The devil had convinced me that it was too late because I should have did it when he was a kid. And no, it's like, you are, so as long as you're still living, like I believe that that's one of my purposes on this planet, is to raise my child, to put him out to the world, to do good things, to be a good citizen, but also to impart the Lord into his heart as well, to give him awareness. Now, whatever he does with that is what he does with it, but hopefully, he circles back
Right.
at some point. But I think it's never too late to tell him about the goodness of the Lord. And so God has given me this. When I prayed about it, he gave me that window of opportunity to where I could do that. And so now, I have this amazing relationship where I could share, scriptures with him on a weekly basis. And he doesn't give me the, mom, really?
Right. Yeah.
He's just kind of like, okay, mom, I got it. But just so you know, I'm not going to read the Bible like you do. Hey, I'm just happy you let me send you scriptures every week.
Planting seeds. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Seeds.
And
But
that's
anyways, back to that story is that, like you said, like it's okay to get mad at God, because if you're focusing in that direction, that's all he really wants. If you're mad, if you're glorifying him, he just wants you to know that he is there, like in it all, no matter what the situation is. And so whenever that happened, all these blessings come out that day financially. It was like God was trying to hand me some flowers and being like, listen, it's okay. Like, I'm still here. Like, it's okay. Calm down. Like, and but also too, that kind of stems too from, I never asked for anything. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of trying to walk my own will. And it's these moments where I'm like, all right, God, like I really need you right now,
I think we wait too late, right?
Yeah,
Like
so
we wait too late, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, the good thing is it's never too late because he's always going to be there. But we wait too late because we try to do everything come on. We try to find the right spouse. We try to do the perfect thing in business and, all the things.
Yeah.
It just yes, it's a very fine, not a fine line, but it's a very interesting space to be in, where you're trying to do the work, because God wants you to do the work, but also trust him at the same time, right? To fulfill, his plan the way that he wants it to go. And so what helps me, and hopefully this helps somebody else, but what helps me is just every time I think I'm failing, or every time I think it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, to just be like, Lord, help me to see, right? Like, in this thing that is a fail, like I'm not a failure, but this thing failed. Now, the reason that it failed, Lord, help me to see, was it because I did something and I was trying to be you? Or is it because,
You're propelling me.
I just can't see, the bigger picture, right? Because in business, one of the things I always tell people is you have to have a big picture of where you want to be. So like if you want to start a business, let's start at the end of the big picture and then reverse engineer it back of how you're going to start it, right? So I kind of think God is like that, where he has this amazing future for us, right? But we can't see it because we have this wall. There's like this imaginary wall of fear and low self-esteem and, you know, doubt and all the things, right? And so we can't see this amazing, whatever, family, home, business, the things, right?
That's good.
And so we just have to keep pushing that wall. Just like, you know what? One day I'm going to crush it. I'm going to just go through this wall and I'm going to get to this other side and it's going to be phenomenal. Until I get there, as I'm pushing, I'm going to be grateful that God has given me the tool to crush this wall. I'm going to be grateful that God's given me the wheelbarrow to put the bricks in, move the wall, like, you know, the little things, right? And so that's why I think it's important to practice gratitude as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps push you through.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What's next?
Yeah, I love how because you do your coaching is geared also towards goal setting. So like what's the do's and don'ts of goal setting and how can you really set like awesome goals?
So the thing about goal setting is you got to be realistic and you got to have good foundations, right? So I always tell people whenever you, and it doesn't matter if you're in life or if you're in business, but obviously I talk a lot about the business part aspect of it. So there's 3 things that you have to have in order to be able to successfully achieve your goals. And the number one thing that I tell everyone is you got to have a strong spiritual foundation, because and when it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you can't reach me because I'm sleeping, I'm not working at 2 o'clock, you know, as your business coach, and you can't reach out to your best friend, like, what do? You go to the Lord. When something doesn't work in your business, so you set a goal, I want to make $10,000 a month, or I want to get 100 clients, and then you don't meet that goal, what are you supposed to do? Well, the very first thing before you do anything that's business related, or you call your best friend and be like, oh my God, this thing didn't work out, you go to the Lord, right? And you get in your prayer closet and you say, Lord, well, this didn't work out. So, you know, this was a big goal that I wanted to meet and it didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work. Can you help me to understand what am I supposed to learn from this? And then what is the next goal that I'm supposed to implement? Keeping in mind that every goal that you make is supposed to be for the ultimate, how do I bring souls to Christ? Right. Everything you do is supposed to be related around that. So help me to understand what goals should I be implementing right now in my business, you know, in alignment with whatever, because obviously, you know, you want to whatever, sell your book or, you know, sell your fitness program or your, you know, your manicures that you want to get customers in, whatever the thing is. But just praying and asking God that the goal that you want to set for, you know, next month, next year or whatever, help you to make sure that it's in alignment with his ultimate goal, right? His ultimate plan. So praying about that and then going to certain scriptures on that. So that's number one, making sure you have a strong spiritual foundation, because when the things don't work out, you need to make sure that you're doing that. Number 2 is having a solid business strategy. So with this, you need to make sure that you have habits in place, right? Like practicing the gratitude, like I talked about before, but also making sure that you have a good plan that is based around, and this is nothing new. Like I didn't come up with some magical solution or something. This is stuff that's just been around forever. It's just a matter of how, for me, it's always put God first and then everything else comes after that. So, but having your solid business strategies or strong business strategies in place, it's making sure that you have a plan that is based off of the SMART concept. So something that's specific, measurable, attainable, and realistic. So making sure you know exactly what are the things you need to have done. Do I need to have a license or a certification? How many team members do I need to have? Is it something that it needs to be a brick and mortar business or online business? And then also thinking about who are going to be your audience, right? So identifying who your audience is going to be, because there's a difference between your ideal clients, your target market audience, and then what can you learn from your competitors as well as you're trying to achieve whatever that goal is. And then understanding how to make your business easier, right? So I'm all about learning automation. So what are things that I can put in my business right now that it will help me to have not just passive, but reoccurring income as well. So I'm not sitting in front of my laptop 24/7.
Yeah.
Because if we become slaves of our business, that means if we spend 8 hours a day on our laptop, that's time away from God, right? So I feel that if I could put the majority of my business on automation where emails are going out, like seriously, when I first started my business, I was writing emails one by one. And that was taking up so much time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so what I realized is that if we spend too much time trying to build a business or trying to meet a certain goal, that's taken away from time that you could be reading the Bible, doing Bible study, going to church, serving in the community, whatever, right? Like doing the things. So putting your business on automation is going to be phenomenal because it's going to help you to be more productive, but it's also going to help you to continue to strengthen your relationship with the Lord too. And then next is making sure you know what you need to sell, right? So again, every time you move through a step, it's like, okay, if you're my friend, right? And I tell you, girl, you make the best cookies ever. Like these are the most delicious cookies. I think you should become a chef and like sell cookies. That's cool, right? Because you might be really good at it, but you need to ask the Lord about it first. Right?
Yeah.
Like just don't go out and start making cookies because your best friend said you're great at making cookies. So, make sure. And I'll give you an example in my life. Like I had absolutely no clue until the pandemic happened that I have this skill of painting. And I was just doing it because we were on quarantine. The whole world was on quarantine, right? So I was like, well, let me get a whole bunch of activities just to do because, well, I realized like, oh my gosh, this is a skill. But what is the skill used for? Like I had to remember to pray. Why is he giving me this skill? Is it just for me? Is it for me to share with other people? I couldn't understand it at the time. But once I started sharing with other people, like, hey, I'm doing these things, right? Just because we're on lockdown and we can't go outside, other people started following me and asking questions, like, can you show me how to do this? And I would have never seen this coming in a million years, but I started a Facebook group where people could come in and I could teach them how to paint or whatever. And this woman tells me that she went through literally the exact same thing that I went through where her ex-husband had, taken their child without permission and she didn't know where she was for, a whole week. And I'm like, oh my God, I went through that exact same thing. And she was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. She's like, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. I don't even know you, but I just felt like I could trust you. And I said, girl, that's the Holy Spirit. I said, God literally brought us into this place at this time, at this moment, because he knew I'd be the person to be able to comfort you as you go through this and then give you the resources of what you need to do. Because she was like, I don't know what to do. And so I told her like, okay, I was like, girl, I wrote a whole book on it. This is what you need to do. Boom, 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 boom. Right. And, and it all worked out and she got her daughter back, like 3 days later. And so and I was like, well, for no other reason, that's why God gave me the gift of painting, to connect us. And she literally is around the world. I live in San Antonio, Texas, and she lived in Poland.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nothing but the goodness of the Lord right there that made it happen, right? So if I never would have created that offer, right? So that's why I'm saying you got to pray about the offers that you create in your business, because people create offers because they want to make money. Yes, you want to make money, but that shouldn't be the main reason that you create offers in your business. Like you creating your podcast, it shouldn't be just because I need to make my car note or make my mortgage, right? It's like, how can I tell other people about the goodness of the Lord, how he's impacted me, how's it impacted my business, whatever. And so that's what I want people to know is just, when you create your offers, it has to be the purpose behind it and remembering, what God says the purpose is, not what you think the purpose is, right? And of course, there's the marketing and the sales and all that kind of stuff that goes with it. But getting back on track, so goals, right? So number one, making sure you have the spiritual foundation. Number two, making sure you have your business strategies. And number three is making sure you have a supportive sisterhood is what I say, because I deal mostly with female entrepreneurs, but this works for Anybody, right? So if you're a male, I just say have a supportive community, right? So just making sure you have someone who is an accountability partner, or I call them, like a biz bestie, somebody that you can go to and bounce ideas off. So I meet with mine every single week. Literally, she texted me right before we did this guest speak, just like, have a great week, and you're going to crush these goals for this week and that sort of stuff. And we cheer each other on, right? And it's important to have that, but you got to be careful, because sometimes we get confused because we have people that I call rah-rah chicks. And everybody uses a different term, but literally you have people in your life that they want you to do well, but it's because they want you to do well for them, not for you. Right. So if you do well, that means I can borrow more money from you, or I could, move in with you, or, whatever the thing is. And I had to learn that the hard way. And so having someone that is, in the business with you and has already overcome the obstacles that you've already overcome, that is someone you need to have on your team whenever you are trying to meet a goal in your business. Because that person is going to be able to see the obstacles a different way than somebody who is your best friend or your aunt or your husband. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So those are the three things when it comes to how do you meet the goals that you want to meet in your business. Having that spiritual foundation, having some business strategies that are pretty solid, and then also having that supportive community.
It's awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah, I don't know where I would be, like, because I have a mentor and he kind of puts me in my place too whenever like I start, like, my mind starts going this way. But he has to be kind of stern with me because I'm just that type of person where, like,
that's the key, right? Like, it's got to be, having an accountability partner is like having you finding the right mate in life. Because you're right, the personalities have got to match. You can't have somebody who's like super soft and you need to have some more structure. Like, there's got to be, I literally had somebody last week who wanted us to be accountability partners, and I was like, unfortunately, this isn't going to work, because it has to be a win-win situation. Like, I have to be able to pour into you and you have to pour into me. I don't remember who it was in the Bible, but there's this story where this lady, God wants you to continue to pour your oil into people, even though you feel like you don't have anything else that you need to pour, right? And when I think of accountability partners, I kind of think like that. Well, we have to continue to pour into each other, but you still got to have some type of oil itself. Like, you can't pour water, right? It's got to be a specific thing. So if you don't know anything about business, you can't be my accountability partner. I need somebody that knows at least something, right? To be able to help me move forward, right? To meet the goal, whatever that goal is. So I think it's great to have people around you that are supportive, but this is another good reason why I say don't share your business goals with everybody either, because not everybody is on, they don't want to see you succeed. There's, for whatever reason, they got their own insecurities, or maybe they had a goal that they couldn't meet. And so they're secretly, not happy that you're, moving forward with your goal.
Or they just don't see it come into life.
Yeah, it's sad, right?
Like you think about Henry Ford. I think it took him like 700 tries to get the truck running, and like his partners were all around him. Like, why don't you just give up? Because it's never been a thing before, so they couldn't see it, but Henry could, and he kept going and going and going for it. But you definitely don't want them people around you, just because they can't see what is that God gave you to see, doesn't mean that that's not going to be something that comes to fruition.
That's it right there. That's why I say you got to have that spiritual foundation as the core. Think of it like a cake, right? So if you had a cake, the foundation of the cake would be the spiritual foundation. Then next you would have the business strategies. And then after that, you have your supportive community, right? So the reason you want to have that spiritual foundation is because what you just said, there's going to be people that can't see your vision of the goal that you're trying to achieve and the things you must do in order for it to come to fruition. And so that's going to be very discouraging. You're going to feel like you're want to give up. You're going to be feeling overwhelmed and stressful. So instead of caving, getting on the glass, getting a glass of wine and, just like covering yourself in a blanket and just like crying yourself to sleep, you can do all those things, but then you're going to need to get up and then you're going to need to go to the Lord and be like, look, I don't know, right? Like sometimes my only prayer is, Lord, help. Like, because I don't know what else to do. So sometimes I just pray, Lord, help me. And that's it. And then I'm like, my heart, like, I don't have the words to say how discouraged I am right now, or how I feel like a failure, or how I feel like I can't see what I need to do. So Lord, just help me.
Right.
And then sometimes that is like the best. It's so simple, but sometimes it's like the best prayer, because it's like giving him total, letting him do his thing, right? Like giving him control to do his thing. Because that's all he wants is let me drive the car.
Right. That will be done.
But we don't want to do that. We're hard head.
I know I am.
Girl, me too. We all are, right?
Yeah. I said the atheist mentality makes it a lot worse, because it's been 3 years. I mean, I'm getting better at I don't know. I feel like I get good at it and then I don't, and then I get good at it, but it's definitely like, like I got this, and then stuff starts falling apart. I'm like, I'm sorry. I think that I didn't mean to have it.
I think someone like yourself would be so amazing, because you have the eyes to literally see and question, but not in a bad way, right? Like question and to say, well, where is that in the Bible? Because one thing that sometimes happens to us, like if you, like myself, I was raised in a church, right? So, but I wasn't raised to read the Bible. So as an adult, I joined teaching churches where they're like, okay, open the Bible, read the scripture for yourself. Like I'm preaching, but I'm gonna need for you to go back and read it, right? This is why Bible study is so important. Someone like yourself coming from your background, I think is so amazing, because you are going to be able to challenge people, because we got to be careful. There's so many people out there that say things, and I'm like, but that don't sound like what God
you can see it once you read the Bible on your own. You can see it, and then you're like, oh, well, like that's flesh. So like whenever I go to church, I don't go there to learn. I go there with the willingness to receive a word. So like if it's pertaining to my situation, I'll walk in, I'll say, God, I receive whatever it is that you want to give me in this service today. So oftentimes the pastor will speak to my situation. Like it'll be one sentence maybe. Also, like I go to church to show up as the body and to be there, if for whatever it is that God needs me for that day, but also like the community of prayer. I feel safe to drop whatever it is that I'm holding on my chest and release that out. But I don't really go there for learning. I learn on my own, and then I just use what the pastor's saying for a confirmation. For what it is that God's already teaching me.
You know what I think? I think, you know how we have school and you start in kindergarten, right? Here in the States anyway, you start in kindergarten and then you go all the way to, college, right? I look at being a Christian the same way. So I was baptized when I was young, like, I don't know, 8 or something like that, but I didn't understand it, right? So I rededicated myself to the Lord. This year. So
good word.
And because I was like, even though I had already, because people are like, why are you doing that again? Didn't you get baptized when you were younger?
I didn't understand what you're doing.
I want God to know, I know
you have to receive it.
And I want him to know that I know, right? And how grateful I am. And so I think being a Christian is like when you go to school and there's different levels. And so, when you are a new Christian, you're doing this thing and life is, because I mean, I don't know, this is just my experience. You have everything going really great, and then something happens and you're like, oh my God, seriously? Like, how? I'm a Christian. Things are not supposed to be happening. They're supposed to go my way. And I think it's completely the opposite. I feel like if we're not being challenged, if we're not having some type of craziness in there, then that means we're not as close to God as we think we are.
Right.
Because if we are, close to fulfilling the purpose that he designed us for, or doing this thing that he wants us to do, if we're close to it, the devil is going to be constantly attacking us. If we are moving away from a relationship with him, I think that's when things are going to be super fantastic, like 24/7, and there's never any obstacles, right? Because we're over here in like this dream world. He's keeping us off target. And so we just got to be careful, and it's a growing process. That's what I'm saying, that we're at different stages, and we just grow.
And I believe too, the atheist is also still in that spiritual experience. They're just hadn't found it yet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that for 1 second that God wasn't behind all those things that were trying to make me look up, and I'm grateful for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm grateful, and I can see him in it the whole time. And so I tell Christians all the time, I'm like, they're still on their own spiritual experience. They just hadn't found it yet. Like, they just haven't gotten there yet, but hopefully they do, because it's a hard walk for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really hard walk for them. And yeah,
it is. It's a journey. For all of us, right? Like, it's a journey, because we are accustomed to, I need to see it, touch it, taste it, all the things, right? And with God, obviously we can't see him with our natural eyes, right? But really, we do see him, because I'm looking at him right now at you, right? Because of your powerful testimony. So he is here, and we can see him. It's just that he takes different forms.
Amen.
And so we just have to constantly remind ourselves that he is here. And I think this is why it's important for us to do the things. Everybody has their own name for it. I call it me time, right? Where I take time to be with the Lord doing something. So like, I love walking. So I could do like 12 miles, right? So I'll go out and I'm walking in nature. Yes, I could walk on my treadmill, but I feel closer to the Lord when I'm outside. So enjoying and seeing all of the wonders. Like, I know NASA released like several pictures last week. I don't know if you saw them online, of the universe. So they have this new telescope, and it's able to see like different more clear, defined pictures of the universe now, right? And so there's this like really far, nebula that's like really far away, and they were able to see these more clear pictures. Oh my gosh. When I saw it, I was like so emotional. I was like, that ain't nothing but the Lord. That is nothing but the Lord. It was so unimaginably beautiful, the way that it looked. And it's like, how in the world does something like that exist? And I think to myself, oh my God, I feel so small, like the little thing that I'm asking for, compared to this beautifulness that he has out there. And so that's what makes me try to, remind myself to be humble and just grateful, for whatever the trials are that you're in right now. When I tell people there's a purpose, and God is going to get his glory from whatever that trial is. It seems really dark, and you're like, I don't know how the heck I'm going to get out of this. But God is going to make a way. It may not even work, but that in itself may lead to something. Like, for instance, I could not have imagined, when I was in my kitchen with my ex choking me, that I'd be here right now today where I am, motivating people, empowering women, and touch so many lives. I could not have even imagined that at that time. All I could think was, am I about to die? Because I feel like I'm about to die. So I started praying to God, because I thought I was about to die. So I was asking him for forgiveness for all my sins. But even that in itself, it was selfish, because I didn't want to go to hell. Not because I love Jesus so much, right? I was just like, well, you know what? This is it. There's no way for me to get out of this. I feel myself fading out. At least let me try to, beg for forgiveness from the Lord from the sins that I've committed, right?
Yeah.
And so that in itself was really kind of starting that path for me to start my spiritual peace journey. I just really didn't get into it full on until 2019, but yeah, life.
It's a beautiful testimony, and I think that in a feel-good society, and I think back to children, like, children are either getting reprimanded because they're, throwing temper tantrums and it's annoying, or they're, getting swaddled up, like, hey, it's okay, let me fix this. And so we grow up as adults, and we want to be okay because we think that that's how it should be, like we should just be okay. And it is these things that really, break us down, that really move us in a direction that we never ever expected. It's like, if you had not have went through that, you wouldn't be an author,
Oh God.
like, yeah, you wouldn't have wrote a book, like you wouldn't be helping people, like you wouldn't be coaching, like you wouldn't, you would, what would your purpose be?
The crazy thing is, I never even thought about a purpose until all of that stuff happened. I was
Right,
just working my 9-to-5 job, just trying to make it. That's what it
right,
was. And if it hadn't have been for, me asking my son that time, what you want to do for your birthday, that's what got the ball started, right? And me saying, oh, wow, okay, I could make a lot of money doing this thing. And I enjoy this way more than being shot at in the military.
right,
So maybe I could do this. And so, like I said, my faith was there. It just wasn't as strong as it is today.
yeah,
And I'm just like, man, I could have been like so like ridiculously, but I was like, no, everything had to happen the way that it happened.
right,
Because if I hadn't have did that, that wouldn't have started the process of me
right,
having the courage to stand up to my abuser and trying to leave, right?
right,
And then it finally happened to where because again, if it hadn't happened that he literally was trying to kill me that day, I don't think that I would have kept just staying and forgiven him, and the
right,
cycle of abuse would have continued. And if I hadn't realized that I had that courage to do that, then all these other events would not have happened, because
right,
I was just going to be content, literally, I was sitting, just relaxing, drinking wine at the pool, just living my best life. I was like, okay, I don't need to work. I don't need the money. So I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. But God had a different plan,
yeah,
right? And he kept putting all these people in my path. And finally, until this one point, he literally just put someone in my path, this stranger, because I thought, oh, I'm going to go to school, right? Let me just do that. And so I go to the, like the admissions office or whatever, where they help you figure out what your major is going to be and all of that. And this lady says, I hope that you don't take this the wrong way. Now, I have never met this lady a day in my life. Don't know nothing about her, right? And I hadn't started business, haven't written my book, none of that. And she says, I hope that you don't get offended when I tell you this. She's like, but I don't think you need to enroll in school. She says, there is a light around you. And I feel that God is telling me to tell you that you have a bigger purpose. And this is not it. Going to school is not it. And this is not the time for you to go to school. And I was like, wait, what's happening? Like, is this normal? Like,
this happened so many times. Like Matt Sassano, he has had his song in like the top of the Christian national rock charts for like months now. And he was 26 years old, and he decided before that, he's like, I'm gonna play in a band, but he learned how to play guitar because he was like, I think I might be able to do that. Like, I think that would be pretty cool. And so he started doing that, and he was at church one day, and this lady like called him up front, and she's like, the Lord told me that you're going to be a singer. And he is like, I had never sang a tune in my whole entire life. He's like, so next thing you know, I'm like trying to learn how to sing. I get a singing coach, like I'm doing all this. Now he doesn't even play an instrument, and he's a solo Christian singer. So, and he was at #1 for like how many weeks? So, yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. I mean, you have to, I mean, I didn't know what to do with it when she said it. I was just like, okay. And she was like, I just felt like he wanted me to tell you this. And, so maybe just take like a week, think about it. And then if you feel like you still want to go to school, she's like, but I really feel that you have a bigger purpose. You're supposed to help other people on a bigger platform. And I was just like, this is so weird. But I left confused, didn't think nothing else about it, right? I was like, okay, I'm just going to ask for another counselor, right? And I just thought it was so weird. But then all these other things just started happening, and and then it all came together. So angels are around us, and God uses people. He is in people, and we just have to listen. We can't look away at different opportunities because they don't look the way that we think that they look like. So for all the people that are trying to start a business and you're like, I just don't think this is going the way it's supposed to. Small beginnings, right? As long as God is in it, he will get his glory for it, and it will turn out to be something amazing. Because again, it's not about what us getting money or the good house or the cool car. Those are like extra bonuses. The good thing is what the skill is that we're using and the purpose that we're fulfilling, and how we're able to tell other people how amazing God is by using those things. That's it. Like, that's the goal, right? And all these other things that happen as a result of us doing that, those are just bonuses. Those are just like cool things, like getting that star when you're in school, gold star. It's
you
kind of
have to make sure this isn't my car. There's a car alarm going off.
Oh my goodness. Well, I didn't hear it.
Satan must not have wanted anybody to hear what you were saying. Hopefully they still heard you.
No, I didn't even hear it.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. God blocked it. So like your coaching business, you help people thrive at building a business.
Yeah, so I'm a certified business strategist, and I work specifically with female entrepreneurs, and I literally get lit up and excited working with women that feel like they're struggling and feeling like they're overwhelmed. Like, I just don't know what to do next, right? Like, I know I want to start a business, but I don't know how to get started doing it. Or maybe they're already in business and they feel like, I don't know, I can't move to the next level. I don't know how to find the people. I don't know how to get them to buy the things that I have, those people. And what I do is I use my signature coaching programs based in branding, marketing, and sales, helping them to, what I like to say, tell their biz fears to kick rocks. So a biz fear is an obstacle, right? It's like whatever the challenge is that they can't get over. So I help them to understand how to take that business fear and literally turn it into a profitable business opportunity. So for example, I took the abuse that I went through and I turned it into a book. Then I turned that book into a guest speak, and then I turned that guest speak into a business coaching program. Well, now I get to, teach women how to do the same things that I've done, right? It doesn't matter if you've been through trauma or not been through trauma, but I teach them how to build their business and scale their business so they can become more self-confident, because you have the confidence in you. God gave it to us, right, at birth. It's just a matter of, it's been pushed down by humanity. So what I do is try to help that part come out, and then of course help them to become more financially independent as well. And so I give them many opportunities to do that, because obviously someone may say, well, I really need help, but I don't have the money. I got you covered. So yes, I have like paid membership clubs where people can come in and I can teach them what they need to do, but I also have free membership clubs as well. So I have the Girls Trip to Peace, which is spiritual business coaching. So for the women that they want to receive coaching, but they want to make sure that they're keeping God at the center of everything that they're doing, there's free coaching for that. For the women that want to start a business, or they want help with scaling their business, but they don't have money right now, I have coaching for that. It's called Impossible to Possible Women. And then of course, for the people that do have the money and they want to receive more, attentive coaching, then I have the Girls Trip to Success to help them. So And trust me when I tell you, the struggle was real because I was like, God, I won't make any money if I'm giving away stuff for free, right?
Right.
You have that. And then it goes back to, okay, wait a minute, you wouldn't even have this business if it wasn't for me. It's like tithing, right? Like I have to remember to tell people about tithing. So just like if you have your 9-to-5 job, you're tithing 10%. In your business, you need to tithe 10% as well. So just doing things like this and reminding people when they start their business, you wouldn't have that business if it wasn't for the Lord. So I just like to do what I can. And like, we have prayer sessions and things like this, just so people understand whenever you feel lost or you got to be careful too, because not all money is good money, right? So sometimes people think I'm crazy when I turn down an offer where somebody wants to be my client. And I'm like, no, because the vibe isn't right. Like, like, no, I mean, I call it a vibe. Somebody may say it's the Holy Spirit, whatever it is, right? Like God gives you that intuition and it's like, no, that's not it. Not right now. That's not it. Right? Like I need you over here. And if you go over here, it's going to derail you from the purpose that I have you on.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to pray about every aspect of starting a business. From the moment you get the idea in your head, you have to say, Lord, is this for me? Because we get that bright, shiny object syndrome where we see someone who started a business and they see all the success and they don't realize there's all this work that goes behind it. And also, how do you balance your peace and purpose? Like, how do you make sure you still give God his time as you're building your business, right? Like, people don't add that in there. And that's how, the devil keeps you off target, right? Because he's, giving you all these wins, which means that's less time you're spending with the Lord. And that was me, like in the beginning, right? I was making like ridiculous money, buying the big house, the cars and all of that. God wasn't in there, right? Like, yes, quote unquote, I was a Christian, but I wasn't, going to church. I wasn't reading my Bible, like those things. It wasn't until all of the trauma stuff became so unbearable. That's when I really, went back into the Lord, right? Trying to get help from him to get out of that. And that's how, my journey started, right? To get deeper and deeper with him, having a relationship with him. And so, but that's what I do as a business coach, is just helping female entrepreneurs specifically to help them to start and scale their businesses. And I do it by teaching them business strategies as well as spiritual coaching as well.
It's so awesome. I appreciate you showing up for me today, and I appreciate your beautiful spirit.
Are you kidding me? It was my pleasure. I was so happy when thank you for this. And thank you for just helping so many people, because again, you sharing your story and giving people this platform, who knows who's going to hear it and how that's going to change their life. So you keep doing it, girl.
Thank you. Doing it. I appreciate that. I'll be sharing all your links then too. So
yeah, please do. I'd appreciate it.
God bless you. I thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much for this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, if you like this message, please hit subscribe, because we have an awesome guest coming up every week and I don't want you to miss out. God bless. Have an awesome week. I'll see you next time. Bye.